Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be reacting to Red, Taylor's version. I was so incredibly stoked whenever I heard Taylor was re-releasing Red, her version with some bonus songs. Red has been one of my favorite albums, one of my favorite eras. I think really it was my absolute favorite album until Folklore, but I just really love Folklore so much, so Folklore's kind of surpassed Red in my ultimate T-Swift album rankings, but I'm a huge Swiftie. I've been to the original Red tour. I have the merch. For some reason I couldn't find it. I was going to wear it, but couldn't find it. I have my Irish cream cold brew, a fun little Christmassy beverage, and I thought today we would just sit down and talk about the album. I wanted to share my thoughts with you guys. Let me know your thoughts by leaving me a comment. You know, do you like the original songs better? Do you like the new songs better? What do you think of this album? Overall, for me, I think because I had such a connection to the initial album that it makes it kind of hard for me to love the new songs more than the old songs, just because like I grew up with the original version of All Too Well, and for me it was just the pinnacle of all of Taylor's songs, and like how could she make that better? So that's kind of like my overall thought on the album, but I am going to break down each song. If this is the first video of mine that you're stumbling across, I would love it if you subscribed and gave it a big thumbs up. I love to support other smaller channels as well. I typically do a lot of videos about fashion, beauty, lifestyle, and travel vlogs, so there's a little something here for everyone, I'd like to think. But let's just go ahead and get into the rest of the video. So here's the album cover. I love this. She looks so chic with this little hat. I think it's really adorable. I've always loved how Red has been a cross between country and pop. For me, that's really Taylor Swift. I don't see Taylor Swift as being a country artist or a pop artist or an alternative artist, as you see with the albums like Folklore and Evermore, but I just see her as being an artist. And so I like whenever she goes some songs country, some songs pop. I like her in both genres. The first song, State of Grace, Taylor's version. I'm not going to spend too much time on just the remastered songs. I think this sounds pretty similar to the original version. And I think it's just, you know, it's always been a great song, great lyrics, just a great beat. I love how it's like edgier and a little bit more grown up, and it really sets the tone for the album that Red is going to be a more grown up album than Speak Now and Fearless. Then there's Red, Taylor's version. Again, I don't find too many differences between the original version and the version on this album. I've always liked Red as well. I think it's, you know, I'm surprised it wasn't a bigger hit for Taylor because, again, I think the words, I think the beat, I think it's a really strong song. Then there's Treacherous. That is one of my favorite Taylor songs of all time. I just love the metaphor, how love is this treacherous drive, and it kind of builds to the headlight guiding her home. And for me, I just love that metaphor, and I think it's a really well-written song. Then there's I Knew You Were Trouble. Again, I don't think this song sounds all that different. So when I was first listening to the album, I thought there wasn't many discrepancies, but then as the album kind of progresses, that's where we start to see more of the differences. All Too Well, Taylor's version. Now, I have to say that I don't know if it's just because I'm a bigger fan of All Too Well than maybe some of those other songs that I mentioned, like State of Grace and I Knew You Were Trouble, but I really think this song sounds different. I think it's a lot poppier. I think there's more auto-tune. I don't like some of the subtleties where she changes some of the phrasing and some of the words. I just prefer the original. It sounds a lot more raw to me and a lot more genuine. But maybe this poppier version will grow on me, but I definitely expected the All Too Well in this album to sound more like the Long Ponds session, like that sad, slow, folklore-esque sound. That's really what I expected from it. So I was surprised that this would be a lot more pop sounding. Then there's 22. I can really hear the enhanced auto-tune on this version, and I think it really degrades the song. I like the original song. I don't know why, you know, she really turned up the auto-tune on this song, because it's a bop. It's always been, you know, a song I've really loved listening to. I remember like karaokeing with my best friends in the back of an Uber after going out one night, and we sang this song, and it was so much fun. But I definitely am just not a fan of the heavier auto-tune, if that makes sense. Then we have I Almost Do, and in my opinion, I Almost Do, I know a lot of people really like this song, but I think it's just okay. I don't think it's the best written out of all of Taylor's songs, and what I would have done is I would have put Nothing New in replace of I Almost Do, and I would have put I Almost Do as a bonus track and replaced Girl at Home with I Almost Do if I was in control of the album. And then this is where the Red album kind of turns. We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. In my opinion, I think this song kind of cheapens the album. I didn't understand it when it first came out. I still don't understand it. I mean, it's catchy, don't get me wrong. It's just, Taylor is such a great songwriter, and I don't think this song is at all reflective of her songwriting ability. And I think this is kind of the song that makes people think Taylor is immature, or she was immature, or her songwriting wasn't as strong as it was. So I don't really know why she wrote this song, especially because Message in a Bottle, one of the new bonus tracks, I think that song is so much stronger. And if I was producing the album, again, this is just my opinion, obviously, I would have taken out We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together and put in Message in a Bottle. And I think that would have, I don't know, I think that just would have made the album better. Then there's Stay, Stay, Stay. That's another song from Red that I don't really like. I, again, think the lyrics are just kind of cheesy and overdone. So I probably would have taken that song off as well if I was Scott Borchetta and replaced it with Forever Winter, because I think that song is so much stronger. Then there's The Last Time with Gary Lightbody. Again, this is kind of the section of Red that's not my favorite. Like, I love those beginning songs so much. Those are some of my favorite all-time Taylor songs. But The Last Time, I think the verses are pretty good, but I just don't like the chorus, and I just don't like how it sounds, and it's just never been one of my favorites. So I probably would have scrapped that one as well and done Run with Ed Sheeran. Then they have Holy Ground. I do think this song sounds a little bit different on Taylor's version as well. I think it doesn't sound as upbeat as Driving. It sounds almost a little bit held back to me, like the emotions are kind of held back, and that's kind of the vibe I get with most of these songs as well, that I feel like Taylor is trying to really work on the sound of the song, but sometimes that comes at the expense of the emotion. But Holy Ground is still one of my favorite Taylor songs. Sad, Beautiful, Tragic. Again, I was never really a fan of this song. I just don't like the sound or the words, really. Like, she's talking about this love affair. Like, did it really happen? Or is this just kind of fictional? I would have put Better Man on the album in place of this song. There's The Lucky One. I've always really liked this song. I think it's a great one. I like how it kind of talks about Taylor's struggle with fame. Everything Has Changed with Ed Sheeran. If you want to contrast this song to Run, in my opinion, I think Taylor more wrote Everything Has Changed and Ed more wrote Run. Then there's Starlight. I actually didn't listen to this one yet on the Taylor's version, so I don't know if it sounds any different or whatnot. Then there's Begin Again. I also really like this song. For some reason, I think I like the redone country songs more than I like the redone pop songs. And we flip to the second CD, and there's The Moment I Knew. I think this song is really good. I can't believe it was a bonus track. I think it's really well written, and now we obviously all see the tie between The Moment I Knew and All Too Well. There's Come Back, Be Here. I actually really like this one, Taylor's version. I think this song is so much more suited to being a pop song, and I think she added what was missing to it this album. Same thing with Girl at Home. I like Taylor's version a lot better as well. I think it sounds a lot better as a pop song. It kind of sounds like it could be on 1989. And there's State of Grace, acoustic version. Honestly, I always skip this. I don't understand why she did the song acoustically. I think the guitar really makes it, so I'm just not a fan of the acoustic version. Ronan, oh my god. This song was, of course, a single, was released on the Stand Up to Cancer program. This song is very sad. I always skip it because it's very sad, but it's very well written and it's a great song. Better Man, unpopular opinion. Maybe all the Swifties are going to come for me, but I do think Little Big Town's version is better. I don't know. I just think that I don't know the names of the Little Big Town members, but I just think they really bring something to the song, and I don't know, I just like their version better. Then we have Nothing New. Okay, this is like in my top 5 favorite Taylor songs of all time. I love this song. I was shook. I kind of thought it was going to be like Fearless, where the new songs were just not that great, and you could kind of tell why they were scrapped from the original album, but that's not the case with Nothing New. I really like the line, "I've had too much to drink tonight." I like the line, "Lord, what will happen to me once I've lost my novelty?" I think it's a great song about growing up and getting older and like still having no clue what you're doing with your life, and it's just a really deep song to me, and I think it could easily be on Folklore or Evermore. It just gives me those kinds of vibes, and I feel like this song was the original Cardigan. I see a lot of parallels between Nothing New and Cardigan, with, you know, how can you know everything at 18 and nothing at 22? That just kind of sounds like in Cardigan, when you are young, they assume you know nothing. So I really like this song. I think it's great. And I'm also not surprised some of these songs why they were cut from the original Red recording. I think that's because a lot of them were very provocative, and this song would kind of not really go with Taylor's like good girl image, like "I've had too much to drink tonight." That doesn't really align with kind of the image she or her management was creating for her at that time. We have Babe, of course, the song she wrote with Pat Monahan from Train, and she released this song with Sugarland a couple years ago. I really like the Taylor's version better. I love how she adds that line about the promises. I love how it's like poppier and more upbeat, and I think it's really good, and I've had this song on replay. Then we have Message in a Bottle. This is so fun. I could easily see this being on 1989. I think this would have been a much better single than We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. I just think that song is super immature. Message in a Bottle is cutesy, fun, and poppy. I just love the phrasing in this song. I love the sound. You know, it's not the deepest song ever, but it's just a fun song, and I think it would have been a great single. This drink is just very basic, if you ask me. This is the first time I'm having it, because my Starbucks has been out of peppermint. Isn't that ridiculous? Anyway, I Bet You Think About Me. This song is interesting. It kind of makes me laugh a little bit. The, you know, organic shoes and what is it, $1 Million Couch. I don't know. I've only listened to these songs a couple times, so I could be wrong on that number. But I think this song kind of rubs some people the wrong way, me sort of included, when she says about the mansion. Like, Taylor Swift grew up in a really freaking nice house, and yes, she did live on a farm, but sometimes people who live on farms are wealthy, so I don't know. To me, it's just, it's a little contrived, some of the lines on it. But the song also reminds me of Bruce Springsteen's Song for Orphans. It has very similar phrasing and melody to that song. So go listen to it if you like the sound of this song. You probably would like Song for Orphans by Springsteen. Then we have Forever Winter. Oh my gosh, this song is definitely a masterpiece. It's heavy, but I love the sound of it. It has a really good sound. And, you know, you can look it up online, who it's speculated to be about. It's really sad, but I think it's a really good song, really strong. Again, I think probably why they didn't include it on the original recording of Red was because it's pretty provocative. And we have Run with Ed Sheeran. I do think I can really hear a lot of Ed's influence on this song. I feel like he created the melody, the harmony. I think you know, darling, they say on the song, and that's something Ed says in a lot of his songs, and it just gives me a very Ed vibe. I really like it. I think it's a good song. I hope maybe they'll release it as a single. I think it'd be pretty good for radio. It also kind of reminds me of Renegade, the same kind of like escapism imagery that's in that song is in this song as well. And we have The Very First Night. This is a cutesy song, kind of reminds me of the Fearless era. I feel like maybe it was a song that was written before Taylor really started recording Red, but it just kind of ended up in this era somehow. But yeah, it's cute. Finally, what we've all been waiting for, the 10-minute version of All Too Well. I've been waiting years for this song. I knew it existed like way back when, and I was anxiously awaiting it. And I have to say, it's not at all what I thought it would be. Definitely didn't anticipate the line, "F the patriarchy." I also don't think it's as sad as I expected. I definitely expected less pop and more like slowed down, like the Long Pond Session version is, and I think that just makes it sadder, and I don't really like the more poppiness of the song. I also feel like because it's so long, it kind of loses some of that original appeal of All Too Well. I feel like the original All Too Well is so well written, and that's because it's tight. Every line gives you a distinctive image. In this new 10-minute version, I don't feel the same way. I do like some of the rhymes and some of the new lines, like "kept me like a secret, but I kept you like an oath." I think that's a good one. But I do think the song kind of stretches too long, and I don't know if you would call it the bridge kind of at the end, where she keeps saying like "between you and me," and she gives different scenarios. Like, I don't think that really adds much to the song, if you ask me. And I do prefer the tighter version. I do prefer the original version, and I was kind of disappointed about that. But that's just my thoughts on the 10-minute version. I don't think it's bad. It's just, I think it's hard to beat the original All Too Well. So those are my thoughts on Red, Taylor's version. Let me know what you thought by leaving me a comment. Let me know what you thought of the sound, of the lyrics. How did this new album make you feel? Do you want to see it in concert? Does it change your opinion of Taylor Swift? So let me know what you thought. I would love to hear. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this was definitely a longer video, but make sure you stick around. I'm going to be doing a lot of holiday themed content. I'm doing some Vlogmas, so be sure you stick around, and I will let you guys know if my opinion on any of the songs change. I've only listened to the whole album like once entirely. I've listened to some of the new bonus track songs a couple times. Like, I've listened to Message in a Bottle probably like 5 times, but I'm sure my opinion will change as it does with previous albums. I will link some of my old reacting to Taylor Swift videos in the description box and on the end screen, so be sure to check them out. I've done Lover, I've done Evermore, I've done like top 25 Taylor Swift songs, so I think it'll be time to make a new one of those eventually. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!